Police say they have evidence against me. I don't know.
He will die in prison. He will never be a free man. He will take his last breath there.
Ali Abulaban was once known to millions online as Jinn Kid, a social media comedian who made short TikTok sketches impersonating violent movie characters. Behind the laughter and success, however, was a marriage slowly collapsing under jealousy, control, and anger.
Who is this?
Mr. Abulaban.
Okay. And do you know what character he's portraying in this?
John Wick.
Who is John Wick?
He's a character in a movie.
Is he a character who is violent or people?
Yes.
Born in Staten Island, New York, Ali later joined the U.S. Air Force, where he met a young woman named Anna Marie Abulaban while stationed in Japan. The two fell in love, married, and eventually settled in San Diego with their daughter. Their life looked picture-perfect online: smiling family photos, a rising TikTok career, and fame that brought validation and attention. But close friends later said the marriage was volatile and often filled with arguments. As Ali's online fame grew, his insecurities deepened. Anna reportedly wanted more independence, while Ali became increasingly suspicious and controlling. After moving into the luxury Spire San Diego apartments, their relationship began to unravel.
That was part of the downfall because my wife brought us. She wanted me to move her out here with all her friends to a life where there's Taco Tuesday, Women Wednesday, Party Saturday, bar fun.
By October 2021, they were separated. Anna was trying to rebuild her life while Ali struggled to accept the distance. According to investigators, Ali secretly installed a listening device on his daughter's iPad so he could monitor Anna's conversations. On October 21st, 2021, while listening remotely, he allegedly overheard a man's voice in Anna's apartment. Prosecutors said he then took a loaded weapon, drove about 15 minutes to the high-rise, and entered the apartment using a key Anna didn't know he still possessed. Inside, he found Anna and her friend, Rayburn Barron, sitting together on the couch. Moments later, both were fatally shot.
He actually said he shot her in the head and killed her.
After leaving the scene, Ali picked up his daughter from school and called his mother. During that call, he told her what had happened and even sent a photo from the apartment before deleting it.
Ali's mom, Dylann Roof, taking the stand and immediately breaking down when she sees her son in court.
You see him here in court today.
I miss him.
Police arrested him a short time later on the freeway with his daughter in the back seat and a firearm in the car.
I never admitted anything. Police say they have evidence against me. I don't know what it is.
So the prosecution says that you admitted to your mother that you did this, and then you pled not guilty. Can you explain that?
No, I can't. She was with me when I got arrested.
Mm-hmm. Did you have a gun in the car?
I picked her up from school. I picked her up from school so that I could drop her off at a safe location at my dad's wife's brother, who lived an hour away. But police surrounded me on the highway.
Ali was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, special circumstance allegations for multiple victims, and firearm enhancements. Prosecutors said the crime showed planning and intent, loading a weapon, driving to the apartment, and entering quietly before the attack. The defense argued that he was emotionally unstable, under the influence of cocaine, and acting in a state of panic rather than premeditation. Ali gave his statement in a jailhouse interview.
Yeah, I was listening on the house with the iPad through my phone.
So when you heard Rayburn's voice, you went to...
I didn't recognize him. I didn't know who it was.
But what were you thinking?
I was freaking out. Oh my God, I caught her. Oh my God. There's a man. And then guess what? I hear nightmare. R&B music.
driving to the apartment.
I'm screaming, I'm crying. I'm like, don't do it.
What happens when you get to the apartment?
I go up and I see them.
What did you think? What did you think?
They were nothing. I didn't see that. I don't know. It was a blur. And I felt like I was on the passenger seat of my own body. But when I opened the door and saw who it was, broke my heart. And to see her kissing Ray on my couch, with his feet on my table, with my I'm running my apartment, my life, in the house that my daughter sleeps in, on the furniture that I put together. What do you expect a man to feel? Happy? Well, I guess that's the end of my marriage. No! That's my family! I lost the love of my life. Everybody I reached out to when I was going through this problem, when I couldn't get a hold of Anna. Dude, you gotta leave her, you gotta leave her. I know I gotta leave her, but I don't want to leave her. Dude, you're so handsome, you're famous on the internet, you can get any model. I know I can. I don't want to. I want my wife.
Could anyone else have Anna?
Huh?
Could anyone else have Anna?
Not while she's married to me.
Cassie Conroy, best friend of victim Ali Abulaban, spoke publicly for the first time about losing her sister-like friend in the East Village. She described Anna as a warm, genuine, and loyal soul who made everyone feel at home. Through tears, Cassie rejected Ali Abulaban's claims from jail, calling him controlling and self-absorbed, and said she only wants Anna remembered for her kindness, not her tragedy.
I didn't believe it for a good hour. I didn't believe it. There was a over in East Village, and I said, you know, wait, you don't know, you don't know. I texted Anna immediately. This is 4 days before my birthday. Me and Anna were just talking. She just texted me, what are we gonna do for your birthday in 4 days? Anna's such a genuine person. I went to high school with her, you know, did everything you did as a kid, homecoming, all that, graduating. Meet a couple people, you know, I've been there when she's dated other people, met this guy. I was calling her phone, calling it, and this is when she just started, you know, dating Ali. He answers her phone. It was just really weird for me, because I was like, he's like, do you mind, Casey? And I was like, I'm sorry. I was calling Anna's phone. I didn't expect to talk to you, Ali.
You didn't like the guy.
I didn't really like him, and I told her, I'm here for you, you know. He's all about the high life. He wants to be on his high horse. He talks over people. He interrupts people when he walks into groups. Talks about, do you have me on Instagram? I have a blue check on mine. Do you know who I am? When we would be hanging out as a group of friends, Ali would get caught up, like I said, talking about himself. He would talk about, you know, like, oh, check out my blue check mark, this and that. And he would joke around because he carries his on him. He carries his on him wherever he goes.
Takashi, turn off the game.
Our friends are kind of like, you know, spiritual, hippie, we're, you know, save the earth. And he's over here, you want to drive around me? Like, up the place, yeah. And we're all like, what? No. And he's like, no, I'm just joking. We're like, Ali, that's not a joke, dude. Like, we don't joke like that.
The trial began in 2024 and lasted several weeks. Jurors heard testimony about the couple's marriage, the spying device, Ali's confession to his mother, and his history of jealousy and control.
I know you're trying to protect your son, but I need you to be truthful with
I
answering
am.
my
I'm
questions.
being very truthful.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Did the defendant tell you that he has hit Anna on a number of occasions?
Not hit, yes, but not.
So he has told you he has hit Anna on a number of occasions?
Yes, but she's also had him too.
A forensic psychologist testified that he had grown up in an abusive household with a strict father.
He did not have the personality that his father wanted, that his father told him, you look like me, but you have the brains of your mother, or something to that effect. So insulting comments that Mr. Abulaban interpreted as rejection from his father.
The court later determined that his upbringing did not justify his actions. Ali himself took the stand, admitting that he caused the but claiming he snapped after discovering his wife with another man. The prosecution countered that it was deliberate, describing how he changed Anna's contact photo to an overflowing trash can hours before the killings, evidence, they said, of resentment and intent. On May 29, 2024, after just over a day of deliberation, the jury found Ali Abulaban guilty of 2 counts of first-degree murder.
In the Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of San Diego, the people of the State of California, plaintiff versus Ali Nasser Abulaban, defendant, case number SCD 292181, verdict. We, the jury in the above entitled cause, find the defendant, Ali Nasser Abulaban, guilty of the crime of murder in the first degree.
Silence. Nothing.
Of Rayburn Cardenas Baran in violation of Penal Code Section 187, Parent A, as charged in. It is. In count 2 of the information. And we further find the allegation that in the commission and attempted commission of the above offense, the defendant, Ali Nasser Abulaban, intentionally and personally discharged a firearm, to wit, and approximately caused great bodily injury and death to a person within the meaning of Penal Code Section 12022.53, Parent D, to be true. Special circumstance as to count 1 and 2, and we further find the allegation against the defendant, Ali Nasser Abulaban, that he has in this proceeding been convicted of more than one offense of murder in the first or second degree within the meaning of Penal Code Section 190.2, Parent A, Parent 3, to be true. Dated May 29, 2024, jury 4-person. Same title, same cause, verdict. We, the jury in the above entitled cause, find the defendant, Ali Nasser Abulaban, guilty of the crime of murder in the first degree, Anna Abulaban, in violation of Penal Code Section 187, Parent A, as charged in count 1 of the information. And we further find the allegation that in the commission and attempted commission of the above offense, the defendant, Ali Nasser Abulaban, intentionally and personally discharged a firearm, to wit, and approximately caused great bodily injury and to a person within the meaning of Penal Code Section 12022.53, Parent B, to be true. Special circumstance as to count 1 and 2, and we further find the allegation against the defendant, Ali Nasser Abulaban, that he has in this proceeding been convicted of more than one offense of murder in the first or second degree within the meaning of Penal Code Section 190.2, Parent A, Parent 3, to be true. Dated May 28, 2024, jury 4-person. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, was this and is this your verdict as I have just read to you?
Jurors concluded that the killings were intentional and carried out with malice aforethought. At sentencing, the judge described the crimes as cold and selfish.
It goes without saying this crime involved great violence. It involved a firearm. It involved vulnerable victims who, again, had no time to react, no time to defend themselves. It involved planning. I don't think you could say it was sophistication or professionalism, but it certainly involved planning. When you load a gun, arm yourself with a gun, drive 10 or 15 minutes to an apartment complex, as we saw on video, his demeanor going up the elevator, his demeanor going down the elevator, that showed planning. And obviously he took advantage of a position of trust. There's clearly that she didn't know he had a key, but he took advantage of that. Now, there are certain factors that, as for mitigating factors under the rules of court, I don't find any. Zero. There are certain factors with the defendant that I am obligated to take a look at. I acknowledge he has no prior record. I acknowledge the fact that at the time of this, he was suffering substance abuse and had some mental health issues. But I reject the fact that his childhood contributed to this at all. That was, I hear terrible childhoods day in and day out. And his was not ideal, but it wasn't what we hear in this particular court. And I don't think that any of these crimes were connected, in fact, to his mental health or even his substance abuse. He was over 26. It did involve intimate partner violence, but he was the one that was committing the violence on her. And of course, he denied when confronted with it what happened initially. So the court is not going to strike or reduce the enhancements. The question then becomes one of whether or not these life without possibility of parole should be consecutive or concurrent. And that's a big deal. That will, in all likelihood, determine whether or not he dies in prison or out of prison, whether he dies a free man or one who's not. And this is the bottom line on this is I've watched him here during all of this time. He's a very talented actor. He is a very talented actor. When I saw the Scarface videos, it's as if when he committed these crimes, he became that persona of Scarface, of just the cold-blooded without remorse. Any tears that he's cried in this courtroom have been for himself. They are not for Ray and Anna. It's just, that's the reality. He fears the consequences, as he should, of his actions. But as he sits here today, I don't know if he's really sorry. I have serious reservations about it. I know he's sorry about the consequences of going to prison for the rest of his life. But I can't say that I think he's sorry for having these two innocent human beings. He's a very selfish person, as I think the jury saw. That was something that his character kind of came through, and we ask, who is Ali Abulaban? That's who he is. He's somebody that is only thinking about himself, and the idea of two innocent people doesn't disturb him. It's chilling. So the bottom line here is he will be in prison. He will never be a free man. He will take his last breath there. Please, in this matter, the defendant on count 1 will be sentenced to life without the possibility of probation via Penal Code Section 1190.2, Parent A, Parent 3. Consecutive to that will be 25 years to life on the enhancement under Penal Code Section 12022.53D. Consecutive to count 1 will be count 2, which will be life without the possibility of parole, Penal Code Section 190.2, Parent A 3. Consecutive to that will be the enhancement of 25 to life under Penal Code Section 12022.53D. Total prison term, 50 years to life plus LWOP, life without the possibility of parole.
The judge told him that any tears he shed were for himself, not for his victims, and compared his demeanor to the violent character he often portrayed online. Ali Abulaban was sentenced to 2 consecutive life terms without the possibility of parole, plus an additional 50 years to life for firearm enhancements. It was Valentine's Day, 2022, a quiet evening in southeast Houston. Arlene Alvarez had spent the day with her family, full of excitement. Earlier, she'd gone to the mall with her mom and picked out a gift for her dad, a bottle of cologne. Her father, Armando, an electrician, got home late after finishing a job and was greeted at the door by his daughter proudly handing him her surprise. Wanting to make the night special, the family decided to go out for pizza, their usual weekly treat. Before heading to the restaurant, Armando realized he needed to stop by the nearby Chase Bank to make a quick deposit. In another car, Tony Earls and his wife had pulled into the drive-thru ATM. They too were making a deposit when a man suddenly appeared beside their car. He demanded money and took the wife's wallet before running off. Terrified, the couple watched as the man disappeared into the dark. In that tense moment, Earls believed the robber might have escaped into another vehicle, leaving the parking lot. Acting on instinct, he stepped out of his car with his licensed firearm and fired what he thought was the getaway car. But that car wasn't the robbers. It was the Alvarez family's truck, driving past on their way to dinner. Inside, Armando heard the loud cracks and told his family to get down. Arlene, wearing headphones, couldn't hear him. In seconds, tragedy struck. Arlene was rushed to the hospital, but she didn't survive. Her family and the community were shattered. Police quickly responded, gathering evidence from the scene and reviewing the bank's surveillance footage. Investigators determined that all of the shell casings found matched Earl's weapon. The fleeing robber, they concluded, had not fired a weapon. Earls maintained that he thought he was in danger and believed the truck was connected to the robber. Initially, a Harris County grand jury declined to indict him, but after a deeper forensic review, including a federal ballistics analysis, prosecutors pursued the case again. A murder charge was first filed, later reduced to manslaughter. In September 2025, the trial began.
Before she was a name on an indictment, Arlene Alvarez lived with her parents and her family in southeast Houston, Pasadena area. She was 9 years old. She was in 4th grade. She loved to do her nails and do new videos, dreamed of being on TikTok. She was being raised by her working income parents. Her dad, who's an electrician, her mom, a hairstylist. She lived there in southeast Houston with her younger brother and baby brother. On February 14, 2022, yes, Valentine's Day, she had gone to the mall with her mom and bought her dad cologne. Dad, being an electrician, he had a job that day. It finished early, and then he got a call where he had to do another job in North Houston, so he was late. He didn't get home until around 9, about 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, greeted at the door by Arlene with her cologne. Feeling horrible, says, let's go out to eat. So the family decides they're going to go to their family restaurant that they go to once a week. Pizza place down the block. So they load up in the car and they're going down, and then Armando realizes he has to deposit some money in his checking account because it's gets an alarm on his phone that his phone bill is due. So on the way to the restaurant, they detour to Chase. Around the same time, the defendant and his wife is driving, go to a Chase Bank. They are in a drive-thru, and as she is also depositing money, a horrible thing happens. The wife is approached on the driver's side between her and the ATM, and there appears to be a gun is placed in her face. Horrible, terrifying. She's being robbed, and he's in the passenger seat, the defendant. He says, give me all your stuff. They end up giving her a purse, small purse, wallet, $20. And then the guy who robs them takes her keys, has her take her keys and throw them beside her car. And he takes off running. And this is where this begins. The defendant is seated in the passenger seat during this robbery. He's the one that said, give him the wallet. Pauses for a few seconds. And as the robbery assailant is running away, he decides not to flee in the car. He decides to get out of his vehicle. He's got a handgun that he carries in his waistband. And what you're going to see, and you're going to learn, is he gets out of that vehicle angry and reckless, because he immediately turns his gun on that robbery suspect as he's running away from his vehicle. The law allows him to do that. And he shoots 3 times at that robbery suspect as the robbery suspect is running away. And then when the robbery suspect hits where the chase sign is, he darts behind it, and the defendant will never see him again. From his standpoint, where he is standing, he can't see beyond that. And just as that is happening, Armando and his family are traveling down that same street. Now, Armando is going to go to the front of the chase. He was not going to go to the side where he believes it's dangerous. But he then sees the robber running away from the scene. He sees him with the wallet in his hand. So he quickly deduces that this guy is a robber running away. And he hears the gunshots from the defendant in the direction of the robber. So Armando is trying to decide what to do. And so the first thing he's thinking of doing, he's going to U-turn and get away. But he knows there's a car directly behind him, so he can't do that. So he starts to veer, and then all he can do is, since he hears the fire, is to go forward. And when he does, the defendant immediately, remember how I said he was shooting? He doesn't get back in the car. The defendant then goes into the open grassy area, and he fixates on the next thing he sees, which is a moving vehicle going down the street. Now, this is not a matter of the defendant shooting at the robber and missing an errant bullet hitting the truck. Not at all. This is a case in which what the defendant does is, as soon as he misses sight of the robber running away behind that sign, he immediately directs his attention to the next vehicle coming down the street, which is the Alvarez's. And he immediately, in John Wick fashion, starts firing at the vehicle as the vehicle passes him. He already shot 3 times. And it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then some time for the 10. As Armando is being shot at and going fast, he tells his family, get down, as he's looking and he's driving. And everybody gets down. But Arlene, because she has headphones on, and she can't hear. And as he drives past the defendant shooting, as the car is directly on side of him, one of the many bullets pierces the back passenger door, between the door and the window. And that bullet travels into that car, pierces the lock. The bullet fragments part of the bullet, enters her head, right in her right eye, and the other part falls into the car. As Armando drives by that chase, he looks and he sees him. His son is screaming. His 7-year-old son, Armando Jr., is screaming right next to his sister with the blood. So he stops the car. And he gets out in the back, checks on her, sees she's been shot. And the first instinct was, I got to get this guy's plates, and gets back in the car. And as that is happening, defendant fires another round and takes off. We can't bring you to the crime scene, but throughout this week, we're going to bring it to you. You're going to get multiple surveillance footage. You'll be able to see for your own eyes what happened. Today, you're going to see a surveillance video from Chase Bank that's never been released to the public. So you'll see this. And it's the only surveillance that you will get that is from the perspective of the defendant. What you will see is that horrible robbery going on. You'll see it through the front windshield as the assailant is next to his wife. What you'll see is as soon as that robber starts to run off, the defendant chooses to get out of the vehicle with his firearm and fire at him 3 times as he's running away. What you will see is as he's firing at him 3 times, that robbery suspect never shoots back. As he's firing at him 3 times, that gun was in his hand, never shoots back. And what you'll see is then he gets behind that chase sign. And you'll see from that surveillance, the defendant then chooses not to get back in the vehicle quickly and speed off. That defendant chooses to then go to the grassy area of Chase. And you'll see immediately, you'll see Armando's headlights. You will see he immediately fixates on those headlights. And as that car is coming, his next shots go all the way as he's tracking him down. I want you to remember, write it on there. You'll get evidence of it. 3, 2, 4, 1. The 3 shots at the guy's back. Boom, boom, 2 at the truck. Another one, another one, another one, another one. As you'll see Armando going by. In his truck, you'll see from the chase video, blacked out windows. You can't see in. He fired recklessly into a truck. He had no idea who was in there. Then you'll see him. They'll start to drive off. And remember, he has to get the keys. So he gets out of the vehicle and he picks up the keys. You'll see this on the surveillance. He'll get back in the car. And just when you think it's done, just when you think he has caused enough havoc, just when you think he's going to drive off and speed off, what he does is as they're exiting, he opens the door as his wife is still driving. And he puts his out and shoots down the street as Armando is checking on his daughter. And then speeds off. You'll see it with your own eyes. You'll see it first thing this morning. Don't worry, you're going to see it again and again. It will be dissected. We're actually, at some point in this trial, going to play you the defendant's 911, where as they're driving off, he and his wife call 911. They had just been robbed. But what you're going to hear, this is him driving from the scene. You're going to know the first things he says in the beginning is he'll lie to the 911 operator. Because he says, that robber shot at me first, so I had to return. From that chase video, you're going to know that is not true. Then what he'll say, and his wife will say, is they thought that that truck was the getaway truck. It'd be the first getaway driver who drives back to the scene. There's no way that robber he would have had to be Spider-Man to get into a moving truck. That's what he says. Then the wife says something very interesting in 911. They say, well, who was this driver? And she says, an Hispanic man. And tries to describe the clothing. She gets it off. So what does that tell you? That tells you as they were, because obviously she's not going to see him in clothing as he's driving. What it tells you is as they're exiting the driveway, just as he is shooting down the street, she must have seen Armando getting out of the car. So it was bad enough he was going to recklessly into a car that had windows tinted he couldn't see in. Now he's firing at another human being that he had never previously seen. We're actually going to bring it to the body cam from the first responding police officer who arrives on the scene within minutes. We're bringing the scene to you. And what you're going to see on that is Armando is freaked out. Armando is quickly saying, the guy came from the chase, go get that video from the chase. Armando is going to tell that officer, he was shooting at a robber. He deducted it was a robbery because he saw the wallet in the hand and the shooting going on. He says he was shooting at the robber, then he all of a sudden turned the gun on us. And he'll even show it by the chase ATM. He'll go, bah, 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 bah. You're going to see it. That was his initial thing. Says it a couple times to the officers.
Prosecutors argued that Earls acted recklessly, into a moving vehicle without knowing who was inside. The defense countered that he was a victim of a violent robbery and made a split-second decision out of fear. The courtroom watched the surveillance videos, listened to 911 recordings, and heard from Armando Alvarez, who described the events of that night and the moment he realized his daughter had been hit. Both sides agreed on one thing: no one had intended for any of it to happen.
Verdict. We, the jury, having found the defendant Tony Earls guilty of the offense of manslaughter, assess his punishment at Select 1, imprisonment in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice for a term of 20 years and no fine. Does any side want the jury to be polled? Is signed by the foreman of the jury, also printed by the foreman of the jury. Does any side want the jury to be polled? Defense. You do?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, please poll them.
We're going to be odd numbers.
Jury number 2, is this your verdict?
Yes.
Jury number 5?
Yes.
Jury number 7?
Yes.
Jury number 8?
Yes.
Jury number 9?
Yes.
Jury number 16?
Yes.
Jury number 27?
Yes.
Number 28?
Yes.
30?
Yes.
38?
Yes.
42?
Yes.
44?
Yes.
Thank you.
Is there any legal reason why this sentence should not be pronounced, Mr. Earls, for the defense?
Your Honor.
With that said, at this time I assess the term of confinement at 20 years in the Texas Department of Corrections. You will be sent to the Sheriff's Department, where they will send you to the Texas Department of Criminal Justice to finish the sentence off. You may be seated, sir. I'd like to thank y'all for y'all service. I know this is a difficult case.
After deliberation, the jury found Tony Earls Jr. guilty of manslaughter. The judge sentenced him to 20 years in prison, the maximum allowed for the charge. Arlene's family, still grieving years later, said no sentence could fill the void she left behind. In early 2022, 27-year-old Danielle Hoyle was preparing to become a mother. She worked at a company in Memphis where she had once met Brandon Isabelle. Their brief relationship ended before she discovered she was pregnant. By then, Isabelle had already started dating another employee, Artesia Stewart, and was trying to hold on to that relationship. On January 30th, 2022, Danielle went into labor at Regional 1 Hospital. Isabelle visited briefly during the night, texting back and forth with Artesia about their rocky relationship. Just hours later, on January 31st, Kennedy Caitlin Hoyle was born. The next morning, Isabelle met Artesia at Mud Island, a quiet area near where the Wolf River meets the Mississippi. They argued, but left without resolving anything. On February 1st, Danielle was discharged from the hospital. She went home to introduce her daughter Kennedy to her family. That evening, Danielle told her mother she was going to meet Isabelle, who said he had clothes for Kennedy. Later that night, Danielle drove off in her Chevy Cruze with Kennedy in the back seat. When she didn't return home, her family became worried. Early the next morning, Officer Cody Sutton of the Memphis Police Department noticed a car parked the wrong way on a quiet road in South Memphis. Running the license plate, he discovered it belonged to Danielle Hoyle. When officers went to her home, her mother told them Danielle had left the night before to meet Kennedy's father and had not been seen since. Back at the roadside scene, police searched the area and soon realized this was not a simple car abandonment. Inside the vehicle, they found Danielle's purse and a bag embroidered with Kennedy's name, but no sign of either mother or daughter. The search for Kennedy quickly expanded. Detectives tracked Isabelle's movements through GPS data and security cameras. Footage showed him driving across the city that night, stopping at a Walmart parking lot, and then heading to Mud Island again. Investigators later found Kennedy's empty car seat near a dumpster and a tiny cap along the riverbank. When police questioned Isabelle and searched his home, they found evidence linking him to Danielle and Kennedy's disappearance. He was arrested and charged with multiple counts, including 2 of first-degree murder. The trial began in September 2025 in Shelby County. Prosecutors told jurors that Isabelle acted out of fear of losing Artesia and wanted to avoid the responsibility of fatherhood. They described a man more concerned with his image than the lives he had affected.
It was the morning of February 2nd, 2022. Cold, bleak. Mud Island, where the Wolf River meets the Mississippi, was colorless. Shades of gray and brown, except for a small baby cat, so out of place, lying on the riverbank, the only indication of what the defendant, Brandon Isabelle, did mere hours earlier. Danielle Hoyle was 27 years old, and she worked at FedEx. That's where she met the defendant, a meeting that would change the course of her life and so many others forever. They had a brief sexual relationship, and Danielle got pregnant with Kennedy. The defendant then started dating another woman, Artesia Stewart. She also worked at FedEx. To the defendant, she was the perfect woman. He wanted to be with Artesia, and he'd do anything to keep her. Late the night of January 30th of 2022, the defendant received word that Danielle was in labor at Regional 1. He went to the hospital, and during those late night hours and early morning hours, he was texting Artesia. Their relationship had been on the rocks for a while. Artesia didn't want to deal with another child or another baby mama in the mix. And so they were going back and forth. Artesia was talking about ending things, breaking up, and the defendant was trying to convince her to stick with the relationship. In the midst of these text messages, in the wee hours of January 31st, 2022, baby Kennedy Caitlin Hoyle, was born. Later that morning, the defendant met up with Artesia at Mud Island by the river to talk about the relationship, and nothing was resolved. Fast forward to February 1st of 2022. Danielle's released from the hospital with her precious newborn daughter, Kennedy. She takes the baby home to meet her family, and her mother, April Campbell, gets to spend one precious hour with Kennedy. She didn't know that that was the only time she would get to spend with her granddaughter, and the last time that she would see her daughter Danielle alive. Danielle left that night in her Chevy Cruze. She had Kennedy in her car seat in the back seat, and she was going to meet the defendant. He said that he had baby clothes for her, and so they met at a Matco on Brooks and Elvis Presley. Somehow, the defendant convinced Danielle to drive down Sedgwick Road where it meets Levi, a desolate, deserted, dark road. Danielle pulled to the side of the road, parked the wrong way. The defendant exited his vehicle, opened the passenger door, and fired 5 shots into Danielle's car, striking her in the face and the head. He dragged her body from the car, leaving her face down in a ditch, so dark that all all that could be seen were Danielle's bright pink shoes. He took Kennedy in her car seat from Danielle's car, put her in his Chevy Malibu, and drove away from the scene, leaving Danielle face down, gushing from her head in the muddy rainwater. For a while, the defendant drove around with little Kennedy. He eventually made his way back to 8072 Lathbury in Cordova, which is where he lived with his parents. He went inside the house, changed clothes, put his Adidas slides in the trunk of his car, and got back in the Chevy Malibu. Kennedy was still in the car, not even 2 days old. He had one more problem to take care of. He drove to Mud Island. Real-time crime center cameras show his car going up and down, Island Drive, until he finally stops at the old boat ramp where the mouth of the Wolf River and the Mississippi meet. He took Kennedy from her car seat, grabbed her by the leg, and threw her into the cold, dark water, not realizing that her little baby cap had fallen from her head and lay resting on the riverbank. He got back into his car, and during this night, he's still texting with Artesia. And his phone, the GPS is on, and it's tracking everywhere he goes. A silent witness to a murderous night. He continues on to Walgreens, where he buys gifts for Artesia. He sits in the parking lot, and he texts Danielle, asking about the baby, knowing that she'll never answer. To cover his tracks. Meanwhile, Officer Cody Sutton with the Memphis Police Department is on routine patrol. He's out of the Rains precinct, patrolling South Memphis, and he drives down Sedgwick Road. He knows the area. It's an area that commonly stolen cars are left. And so when he pulls up, he doesn't think anything of it. He sees a Chevy Cruze parked on the wrong side of the road. It looks like it has a shattered window, so he runs the tag. It's dark and raining, and the tag comes back to Danielle Hoyle. So he sends officers to Danielle's home, thinking they're investigating a stolen vehicle. When they arrive, Danielle's not there. They encounter her mother, April Campbell. April informs the officers that Danielle left earlier that night to see her baby's father, that she had a newborn with her, and they hadn't heard from her and didn't know where she was. Meanwhile, Officer Sutton is still on the scene at Sedgwick. He gets out of his vehicle to take a closer look, and he finds the gruesome discovery of Danielle's body. Now at this point, the Memphis Police Department is starting to realize the gravity of missing Kennedy. Officer Sutton looked around. He found no baby. He found no car seat. Just a bag, a baby bag, with the name Kennedy in the Chevy Cruze to show that she was ever there. A city watch goes out. While this is starting to happen, the defendant has another stop to make. He drives to Walmart on Elvis Presley. He then pulls to the back of the Walmart and drops Kennedy's car seat next to a locked dumpster. And that car seat is later found by a Good Samaritan and Officer Robert Blake. He's still texting with Artesia. She finally relents and says he can come over. He beats her home to 5061 Stacy Road. She pulls up in her Kia Soul, and she can't even make it in her door before the defendant is jumping into her car, telling her that they need to leave. Danielle's family is out looking for him. They want to know where Danielle and the baby are. So Artesia drives him back to 8072 Lathbury in Cordova. That's where the defendant and Artesia Stewart are detained by the Memphis Police Department. Sergeants Wimbush and Boyd, with homicide, began to question the defendant. And through that questioning, it becomes apparent that they need to go to Mud Island. And so a frantic search begins for baby Kennedy on Mud Island. The Braden dive team, with divers Hunter Winfrey and Kyle Borland, the Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency with Agent Andy Tweed, numerous MPD officers on the ground, air support, a helicopter, a drone, looking for baby Kennedy. But they didn't find her. All they found was that baby cat on the riverbank. As Sergeant Boyd and Wimbush continued to speak with the defendant, more information came to light. Sergeant Fowler and Officer Cole went to 5061 Stacy Road, Artesia Stewart's home. That's where the defendant had left his car, the white Chevy Malibu. They searched the car, and in the trunk of the vehicle, they found the Adidas slides that the defendant was wearing. Officer Carlisle took the clothing that the defendant was in when he was taken into custody. And he noticed that the defendant was wearing a pair of white socks with what looked to be blood on them. Officer Carlisle, the crime scene, processed both the Adidas slides and those white socks and used a presumptive test, which indicated blood. Those two items were then sent to the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation for DNA testing. Agent Stephen Walzak did the testing on those items and determined that the blood on the socks and the Adidas slides belonged to Danielle Hoyle. Ladies and gentlemen, once you've heard all the proof in this case, the witness accounts, the DNA, the video, once you have heard all the evidence, the state will ask that you find the defendant guilty of each and every count of the indictment.
Does the defense wish to make an opening statement?
Yes, Your Honor.
The defense urged the jury to keep an open mind and focus on evidence alone. After reviewing cell data, surveillance footage, and witness testimony, the jury found Brandon Isabelle guilty on all counts, including the murders of Danielle Hoyle and her daughter Kennedy. He now awaits formal sentencing in Tennessee State Court. Big thanks to our viewers for joining the courtroom journey with us. Your interest in the stories of justice is what keeps our channel alive.